This video is to show you how to work the surplus records, no matter if you're a client of Surplus Database or Tax Auction Surplus. We upload a new surplus list every auction day, which is Monday through Thursday, and sometimes on a Friday. And depending on which website you are a client of, you will retrieve that list in a different way. For Surplus Database, once you are logged in to your account, you want to go to My Account on the menu, and you will go to Florida Records, and you will scroll down to this section. And we have all the records inside of a repository, an online folder, which in our case we use Google Drive. And we give you access to that drive, to that folder, by sharing it with your Gmail email account. And the one that we have on record should show right here. If you are not seeing your Gmail email address right here, you do need to contact us. We have to add it to be able to give you shared access to the folders. So to open the repository, you just click this link. And I am already logged into the correct account that is shared with me for this demonstration purposes. So you just want to make sure, if you have more than one Google account, you want to look up here and make sure you are logged into the correct one, or you won't be able to see the folders. But here we are. Now, we would keep all of this week's records right here. But today is Monday that I'm making this video, and we have not yet uploaded a list for this week, so that's why you're not seeing anything right here. So I'm going to go into one of the past week folders. And another thing I want to point out is if you're not seeing this laid out the way you're seeing it here on the screen, it's probably because you have the view different. If I click this, it looks like this. And personally, I just like mine laid out all down. That's why I keep it on this view. So anyway, I'm going to go into week 20, which was last week. And every day when we upload the list, we upload it in three different formats: a PDF, an XLSX, and a CSV. The PDF has one record per page. And if you scroll down, you can see each of the records have their own page. And the purposes of this are for people who like to print out these reports and use it to keep their notes on and keep track of any claims that they may go after. And then we have a CSV, and the purposes of that is for people who might have their own database or system that they use. A CSV file can import into those databases and systems. And then we have the XLSX, which is an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to right click on the XLSX and click download. And up here it asks me what I want to do with it. I could open it right now, but I want to actually save it on my computer. And I highly suggest you do the same. Always save these on your computer. And I'm just going to click save here. And before I go on with the next step, I do want to show you how to obtain the surplus lists if you are on Tax Auction Surplus. So you would click on, after you log in, you click on My Account. And you want to, if you're on the pro level, you would want to go here, pro level items. If you're on the basic level, you want to go here. So I'm going to go into I am on the pro level for this demonstration. So I'm going to click on pro level items. And right here in this section, you'll find the link to the online repository. I'm going to click that. And again, the records are not here because we just started this week and we haven't uploaded one. So I'm going to go into the old records. And again, we do give you the XLSX, a PDF, and a CSV for each of the day's records. And I'm going to right click on the same date that I did previously for Surplus Database, so I have the same days of records. just to show you for demonstration purposes. I'm going to right click on that, click on download, save as, and I'm going to save it in that same folder. Okay, so once you have the records, the rest of the process is pretty much the same. Except that if you are a client on Tax Auction Surplus and you are not getting the researched records, which is where we research the liens on the records, then you would also need to obtain the property information reports and research those liens yourself. And back on the Tax Auction Surplus page, the account page, if you scroll down a little bit more, you can go to Access the Property Information Report Repository. And if I click on that, we have a folder for each county, and which contains all the property reports needed for those counties. And you would open those up and look for any liens or documents that are mentioned, which is also taught to you in another video of ours, a Lien-Research video that we have. So that's not being taught here in this video, but you would obtain the property information report, find out what documents are on it, and then use the official records website of the county to research those liens. This is all to determine if a record is good enough for you to even pursue. This is all done before you even think about locating a client. And on Surplus Database or the Lien-Research of taxauctionsurplus.com, we do provide the liens researched for you, so it skips a lot of steps that you have to take, and you wouldn't have to do that. So now that you have the surplus list downloaded, you want to open it up and find a record that you want to work with. And I'm just going to go through a few items that, just some hints and tips of, good things to look for. First of all, if you get this protected view yellow message, you can just click enable editing. You don't have to worry. We're never going to be sending you any viruses in our spreadsheets. Now, personally, if I were working these records, here's a few items I would do it first. I don't like how Excel does the word wrap and makes these wrap around. So the first thing I do is I click up here to highlight all the cells, and then I right click anywhere, go to Format Cells. On Alignment, I take off the wrap text. That's much better to me. And then while these are still all highlighted, I'm going to come up here in between any two of the cell headers and double click. And what that does is make each column only as wide as the information that's in it. It's just a much clearer view to me. And then the next thing I'll do is highlight the surplus column, and I will make it a different color just so it pops out at me. And then maybe I will sort by the surplus amount, highest being up at the top, just to have a good look. So I'm going to click on all the cells and then click on, let me pull this down a little bit so you can see everything. So I'm going to highlight all the cells and then click on data, sort, and then by, you want to, my data has headers, you want that checked. And then we're going to sort by surplus, not smallest to largest, we want largest to smallest. And then we have them sorted highest up at the top. The next thing I would look at is the property owners, because I'm not going to work with a record that's owned by a bank or other very large company or a realtor. I can't think of the other ones that are in my mind right now, but I'm just going to have a look over here at the owner name. And the first one, Joseph and Queen E. Taylor, those are individuals, so that one sticks out in my mind. So if I've decided that I want to work with this one, I'm going to, if I'm on Surplus Database, these records are already researched for any liens. So if I come over here and I'm going to highlight this one row so that you can see this is the one I'm working on. And I'll just highlight that one orange. And actually, where I did the unwrapping of the cells, it's not good for the lien areas, these columns, because they just all kind of run together. So I'm going to highlight government liens and right click format cells and click on wrap text again. And see how that just lays them out like this. So I know that, I just do some quick math in my head. I know that the surplus is, $333,000, which is a great deal of money. And looking at the liens for government, that doesn't even come close to it. So you want to look at other liens. Are there any mortgages? No. Are there any judgments? No. HOA? No. Has other liens? Yes. So what is that? There's just one other lien for $322. So even with the liens on this property, that's still a good amount of surplus. So this is an excellent record. And that is the one that I would want to start and work with. And before we move on to the next step, I want to show you that if you're a client of Tax Auction Surplus, I'm going to open up that spreadsheet. You would see this. Here's that same record, the Miami-Dade record. And if I scroll over, what you will see is, does it have government liens? Yes. Judgments? No. HOA? No. Other? Yes. But you don't know what they are. So this is where you need to watch the other video on Lien-Research. You would have to pull up the property information report for this record, look up the book and page numbers of the liens, which are these. This is a book and page number. You would have to go to the Miami County Official Records website, put in those numbers, and it would show you the lien document and how much it's for. You have to do all the research yourself. But once you do determine that it's a good record, your next step is to make sure it didn't redeem. And here's why this is so important. When we send out the records, when we upload the new records each day, it's almost immediately right after the auction ends. Well, the high bidder has up to 24 hours to pay for their winning bid. Meanwhile, the property owner has up until the time that bidder pays to be able to redeem their property. So more often than you would think, there's kind of a race to get a payment in on the auction day from the property owner to redeem their property. And meanwhile, the high bidder is racing to pay their high bid amount first so that the property is not redeemed. However, at this point, we already have the records out there to you guys. This is already in your hands. So you just want to make sure that the property did not redeem after the auction ended. We have a document with information and some videos showing you how to figure this out. And if you are on a surplus database in your account area, you would want to go to Resources, and then scroll down to this section, Did a Tax Deed Redeem? And on Tax Auction Surplus, it's on the Pro Level Items page or the Basic level. You want to scroll down to Did a Tax Deed Redeem? Now what that does, that link is going to bring you to another website of ours, Florida Tax Auction, which you do not need to be a member of it to be able to see this page. It's just to give you the screenshots and the correct link. So you're going to be using the deed research or tax deed documents icon for each particular county for the record that you're checking. And when you need to use that icon, you, as a member of Surplus Database or Tax Auction Surplus, would go to Florida Overbids. If I open Florida Overbids, it goes to the list of county pages. So let's say I was checking that Miami record to make sure it didn't redeem, which I will do so. I would click on Miami County, and I'm going to be using the tax deed documents link. and we want to put in the case number. And just let me go back one step. What you're looking for is in a screenshot. I'm going to show you. Miami-Dade is right up here. So under status, when we look up the tax deed that I'm about to show you, if it says completed, redeemed, it means the owner paid their property taxes and there won't be any surplus. So I want to grab that tax deed number right here for that record. I'm just going to copy that, put it into the case number, and click search. And under status, it still says active sold bidder. This auction was definitely over 24 hours ago, so this is complete and good. The surplus on that is still good. And with all that done, you've decided that this is a good record you want to go after. This might be a good time that you would want to print the PDF of this record. That way you can have your notes as you go along. So your next step is you need to locate the property owners. Sometime in the future, we will offer skip trace services. We actually are working on several of us becoming private investigators right now. But at this time, we do not do the skip tracing. But we have provided a document on teaching you how to skip trace using public records and freely available records. And in Surplus Database, it's in your account area here. And on Tax Auction Surplus, it is here, skip trace using public records. Once you locate the owner, you need to know what to say when you contact them, whether it be by letter or a phone call. We have 2 sample first contact letters that, even though if you were going to get them on the phone, at least you'll have some wording here that will let you know what you can say to them. We have the 2 letters, contact letter 1 and 2. The first one uses less information about the source of unclaimed money. This is kind of a learn as you go along. You start to learn what and what not to say to people up front, to either, to get them to trust you and not go after the money themselves. And then the second letter is using more information about the source of unclaimed money. So on Surplus Database, you can find them here in your account area, and on Tax Auction Surplus, they're here, 2 sample initial contact letters. The next step would be deciding on the route you're going to take with the client. And again, that's a learning experience, depending on how you want to do this. We have a document on Surplus Database. It is on the Florida Records tab, and it's right here, called the Surplus Claim Process. And on Tax Auction Surplus, it's on your Pro Level Items page, Surplus Claim Process. I'm going to open it. Go ahead and open that up. It talks about the 2 different routes you can take with your client, using a contingency agreement plus a power of attorney or assignment of interest. So download this document and give it a read, and it teaches you the 2 different routes and what you go through for those. Now you need to make sure you have all of the documents depending on the route that you've decided you're going to take, either assignment of interest or the contingency agreement and power of attorney. Let's say that you are doing an assignment of interest and you will be claiming the surplus under your business name, because that, I believe, is the best way in all the different routes. So you would need your client and you would need your client to sign the assignment of interest. And we do have this document for you. On Surplus Database, it is located under Florida Records and Florida Forms. Here it is, assignment of interest form. And then we also have a sample filled out so that you can see how it's done. And then on Tax Auction Surplus, It is right here under Client Forms. If you click that link, we have all of them that you would download plus a sample, each of the client forms. And then of course you need a copy of your client's driver's license, and then you need a claim form from the county filled out as your business. And the claim forms can be found on Surplus Database, Florida Records tab, Florida Forms. We're going to scroll down here, and here are the surplus claim forms. This was for Miami, the county, so I would come here and click on the Miami-Dade link to download their claim form. And then on tax auction surplus, the surplus county surplus claim form link. You click on here, and this actually brings you over to floridaoverbids.com, which you also receive a free membership on. So you would need to be logged in on Florida Overbids to get to this page. But once you're logged in, here are all of the claim forms, and you just choose the one you want and download it. And then you need a copy of your driver's license, your W-9 form. You would also need the surplus notice from the county. And I'm going to skip down here to owner's deed to the property, because these two items we can help you get. If they do put them in the tax deed documents normally, but if it's, they're a little difficult to find, sometimes we can get them very easy and quickly for you. So when you reach this point and you need those two documents, just jump on the help desk or shoot us an email and we'll get them for you. And then of course, since you're going to be claiming as a business, you would need a copy of your business license. And all of these forms are submitted to the clerk of court for that county. And on the Florida Overbids website, if you go to the county pages and then go to the county page that you're working with, which in this case is Miami-Dade, if you go, close that, right here to Clerk of Court, that should bring up the Clerk of Court's website, and this is where you could find their address. And it's right down here for them. And of course, their phone number is there too if you have any questions ahead of time. And that's it. Once you send off that claim package, jump on another record.